to the CDO Magazine's interview series. I'm Asha Saxena, CEO of World Leaders Advancing Women Leaders in Data and AI. I love saying world leaders coming together, Bhavna, because I feel like we're really bringing together the world.
We are, yeah.
Right? We are.
Yeah, we have people from all over the world joining. I mean, it's so cool.
When you talk about diversity, I was thinking also about the thoughts, right? If you
Correct, yeah.
And it helps having diverse thoughts in your team. Maybe you don't agree with it, so what happens is if you look different or you think different, sometimes you worry about, is it bad because, oh my god, I might not agree with you and there'll be conflict. But that's not true. It opens your mind when you have someone who looks different than you, or who thinks different than you, or who comes from a culture which is different. And that gives you a perspective you could never think about. So it really is a powerful tool when you think about how you're solving a problem, especially when you're working with data. Or
very true, right?
Right?
Because it's expertise, it's experience, it's your education. It could be what
surroundings.
Survival. It could be your culture. I mean, there's just so much of those diversity dimensions, if you will, right? That as we're looking to pull a team together, and that is one of the things we kind of looked at, not looked at relatively, but when you look at a team or from an AI governance council, oh, we need legal representation, we need risk, we need HR, we need finance. Even functionally, when you start to think about that, implementing these models, AI needs a lot of functional input, right, from an expertise perspective, which do bring that diversity of thought.
Yeah. And I want to go back to your responsibility. I felt like when you were sharing what you're responsible for, from infrastructure to enablement and everything in between, it felt like your team does carry a lot, being the center of excellence, being the center for providing tools for innovation and acceleration. And I also love what you said, we are best at being better. It's so great to have that attitude. Matthew McConaughey said in one speech that my role model is me in the future who's evolving forever. So I think that's what you're saying, is that we need to continuously keep evolving and keep getting better at wherever we are.
Yeah.
And having moonshot goals is so great because you know what could be possible. Maybe it's not possible today or tomorrow, but they say that people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So think about, if you do have moonshot goals, what is possible? Can be imagined, can be achieved. But if you don't imagine it, you'll never achieve it. The possibility is zero, for not achieving it. So I think personally and professionally, having moonshot goals is inspirational.
Absolutely.
It makes you want to continue living and be a child, no matter what stage of your career you are, because it's never an end, right? It never ends. The career never ends. It's how you take it and how you continue growing at all stages of your career. I want to go back to enablement. You spoke about, all that is, your team is responsible for, to making sure that the business is successful. And this is something which is, the health of kids. You as an institution stand behind a huge mission to, as you said, mental health. I mean, these are not small causes. How do you enable, and especially when technology is changing every day, how do you do the enablement? Because that in itself seems like a moonshot goal.
Yeah, no, very, very true. I think, again, I'm talking more about the technology enablement, right? So when I think about our teams, and data is always downstream and everyone needs data. So again, having that close partnerships with the functional areas, whether that's internal, whether that's our clinical teams or our tech cloud teams or our business teams, right? I think it's very important that we have that core partnership to understand what those roadmaps are, how the data quality can be impacted through those systems. And I've been very fortunate to have that partnership, right? And we have leaders that are pushing and understand the full life cycle of data, if you will. But specifically from an enablement perspective, so my team is responsible for data. The way it's structured is we have data governance, a core data governance and enablement team that is responsible for the platform behind using data, promoting data governance, as well as communities of practice to bring people together to talk about shared definitions, shared quality, shared data solving issues, if you will, or even what business problems that they're solving. They're sharing their learnings and their wins, right, together. And then my team's also responsible for business intelligence and analytics. And we have a community of practice there where we've implemented Power BI, and we're also using some of our, our ERP and Epic, our EMR tools. So really thinking holistically around what is our analytic tool set and how do you enable teams in a technical as well as in a process, right? Trying to co-develop. So we are, like I talked about, a very collaborative organization, and we're co-developing some of those standards and best practices with our community of practice. Then we also have a community of practice around data engineering. So data virtualization, data engineering, and bringing people there together. What it means to create enterprise assets, what it means to enable reuse, what it means to abstract some of the complexity and understand the business, and really connect with, who's our customer, who are we serving, and how will we serve them with data. And then new over the last couple of years is our AI arm, which is new to me in my responsibility as well in my role. So we have an AI governance council, an AI ML work group, trying to create a community of practice in partnership close with our research faculty, and really trying to leverage their expertise over several years that we haven't, really trying to bridge that gap between operations and research and say, how can we share that enablement together, right? And then partnering with our HR teams and with our change management. So I think it's a huge opportunity and a huge, initiative. I'm one part of it, right? But I'm obviously not doing it alone. It's a team sport. But I'm fortunate to have a great team who's aligned with the vision, pushing forward, and I think great partners and leaders across the organization who share the charge of doing this together.
Thank you so much, Bhavna. Thank you, everyone who's listening. I always enjoy these conversations. It gives me a time to sit back and reflect on our world, our technology. Thank you for joining us, everyone. It's leaders. I have to truly say that, Bhavna. It's leaders like you, to be the role model for the younger generation, and everybody who is trying to aspire to create an inclusive, equitable digital future. Remember, advancing parity and equity in the digital world begins with a conversation like these. So stand up and have a conversation, have an opinion, be engaged, and continue creating an impact. I'm Asha Saxena, urging you to stay engaged, inspired, and committed to making a difference in data and AI leadership. And if you are in Los Angeles, please join us May 9th at L'Oreal West Coast campus. And if you have a question about WLDA, reach out to Bhavna or me, and we'll be able to share information about what we do in WLDA and how we build a community that cares. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you.